The single story robs people of dignity, makes our recognition of our equal humanity difficult, and emphasizes how we are different rather than how we are similar. What is a single story, you ask? Well, for example, imagine you are Jamaican. You have dreadlocks, sing one love, and answer, yeah, man, when asked if you like ackee and saltfish. Is that the Jamaican existence? No. Single stories perpetuate disingenuous stereotypes. They generalize the experiences of people, especially those from less developed countries. You have been told the single story, but today is your lucky day. By reading an excerpt from Mohsin Hamid's How to Get Filthy Rich in Rising Asia, you can begin to reject the notion of a single story by immersing yourself in the polarizing possibilities of Asian living, which remind you that humanity is resilient. Hamid's second-person narrative begins with you, a sick boy who embodies hope. Your anguish is the anguish of a boy whose chocolate has been thrown away. Due to poverty, your childhood is filled with hepatitis E, not chocolate. In fact, you have never seen chocolate. You do not even have potable water through a convenient pipe system. Instead, you rely on a waning stream that has been polluted with effluents and excrement. You do not have privacy either. You share a single mud-walled room with your mother and her surviving offspring. You could join your deceased siblings who perhaps succumbed to illnesses like yours, but that is not your story. Your mother nurses you, as mothers do, with her own healing concoction. As a young jaundiced village boy, it must seem that getting filthy rich is beyond your reach, but have faith. You are not as powerless as you appear. You are strong and you recover, taking your destiny into your own hands. You represent the possibility of achieving financial success from humble beginnings. Even though your childhood is marred by the effects of poverty, you have opportunities. The first thing you must overcome is this abject countryside. Despite being a chef, your father is not obsessed with the freshness or quality of his ingredients. When he looks around him here, he does not see prickly leaves for an effervescent salad. He sees instead units of back-breaking toil. Here, in the heated bounty of nature's pantry, your father sniffs mortality. While the global north propagate the concept of a quaint countryside where free spirits in cottagecore outfits frolic through idealistic fields, you know that is a fetishization of your reality. Perhaps their flowery dresses were produced in a textile factory that dumps waste in your stream. You cannot thrive on this land. Still, you consider that you and your extended family live here. Your family eats together in the courtyard, adding spice to mask the taste of old ingredients and frying them in oil to kill as many germs as possible. This cooking is resourceful. It is not the healthiest food, but the aroma is pungent and comforting. You realize that people do the best they can, that people persevere and shape their own fate. Nevertheless, the scope of your fate-altering decision-making is relative to your gender, age, and wealth. For example, your mother, who in an all-female society would likely rise to be queen, cannot decide where she lives. Your father gets to choose, demonstrating that she is constrained by your patriarchal society. Your mother's age also makes her subordinate to your grandmother. She cleans the courtyard under the gaze of her mother-in-law, who looks on in unquenchable disapproval, flaunting her authority. Like your mother, your father is also repressed. For instance, should the landlord drive in their SUV, your father and his brothers will avert their eyes in a traditional display of subservience. He dislikes them, but your family subsists on their land. Furthermore, although your father earns $10,000 in the city, he does not live in a luxury apartment like the one you have seen in Hollywood movies. Instead, he shares a room and there is no families in the quarters. But you are going to be the exception because you recover, inspiring your father to move your immediate family to the city with economic opportunity. The 5 of you, like the fingers on one hand, have migrated and you embody one of the greatest changes of your time. Finally, you have taken the first step to getting filthy rich in rising Asia. You may not be Asian, but this is your story too. Adichie tells you stories matter. Many stories matter. Stories have been used to dispossess and to malign, but stories can also be used to empower and to humanize. You are like the first people who ventured across the Bering Strait. You all have 5 fingers on each hand, and you can use those hands to shape your destiny because you are human.